The long-awaited overhaul of the Nigerian Fiscal Revenue Administration has taken off with the signing of 4 tax bills into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The signing ceremony held at the Presidential Villa in Abuja was witnessed by top government officials, National Assembly leaders, and relevant committee heads. Welcome to Business Point, where we extract the Nigerian economy and the government policies. I am your host, Kikelomo Okere. The new tax regime means different things to different people, while Nigerians are still apprehensive over a possible backlash when it becomes fully operational. Businesses are cautiously optimistic, believing it will only get better. The business community is elated by the possible elimination of multiple taxation regime by unauthorized personnel at the state and local government levels. Providing more clarification on the tax regime that take effect in January 2026, the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue, Dr. Zach Adedeji, and chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, says the steps set the stage for a complete overhaul of the fiscal architecture. Adedeji described the moment as a dream more come true and hailed the president's vision, courage, and commitment to modernizing tax system. The 4 tax bills, the Nigerian Tax Reform Bill, Nigerian Tax Administration Bill, Nigerian Revenue Service Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill, were signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu after a long controversy, extensive consultation, and legislative framework. Despite optimism, there are questions about how the authorities will be secured nationwide compliance in the face of entrenched informalities in the tax collection. Many states outsource tax and levy collection to party loyalty, who in turn hand off the operation to touts, who secure compliance through intimidation and harassment of citizens. Adedeji announced that the implementation of the new tax law would commence on January 1st, 2026, giving stakeholders a 6-month transition period to prepare. The effective date for implementation has been set for 2026, as announced by the relevant ministries. This gives us a full 6-month window for a robust sensitization through planning, alignment with the government fiscal calendar. A reform of the magnitude cannot be rushed. He also revealed that the Federal Inland Revenue Service will now transition into the Nigerian Revenue Service with an expanded mandate covering both tax and non-tax revenue, even as it promised greater efficiency and transparency on its part. Oyedele stressed that the reform are essentially pro-growth and pro-poor, aimed at improving equity, reducing burden on vulnerable Nigerians, and stimulating economic development. Over 1/3 of workers in both public and private sector will now be completely exempted from personal income tax. More than 90% of micro, small, and non-enterprises are also exempted from the corporate income tax, VAT, and pay obligations. Most significantly, Oyedele disclosed that essential goods and services, including food, healthcare, education, has made 50 million naira turnover extremely small to be used to classify small businesses. The provisions are meant to strengthen economic activities by reducing the financial burden on vulnerable groups, easing the living status of working class citizens, and enabling small enterprises to invest in growth. The Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Bill 2025, which harmonizes revenue collection and creates a single revenue collection agency, Nigerian Revenue Service, is another significant step at improving revenue collection and increasing accrual to the Federation. The new tax law presents opportunities for enhancing Nigerian economic landscape. Also speaking on how the new tax law will be beneficial to the economy, lead director of the Center for Justice, Eze Onyepe, expressed that hope that the new laws will enhance transparency and accountability in tax collection and remittance to the Treasury. Delani Adekola of Enterprises NGR, an advocacy body, says the new tax regime will help to make sure that there is enough money for the government to provide the citizen from improved collection. All right, let's take a look at the Debt Management Office. The Debt Management Office saw a robust demand at its June bond auction, drawing 602.9 billion naira in bid for 100 billion naira, offering a significant growing confidence that easing inflation and dovish monetary policy lie ahead. The auction held on Monday featured two maturity, April 2029 and June 2032, each with a 50 billion naira supply. The bid to offer ratio surged to 6 times, up from under 1.5 times in May, when bid totaled 436.3 billion naira for a 300 billion naira placement. Buoyed by stronger investors' interest, the DMO cut its top rate to 17.75% for the 2029 bond and 17.95% for 2032. Both declines from the previous auction. The downward shift in the yield reflects improved market sentiment and lower inflation reading, FBN Quest says in a Thursday note. Nigerian headline inflation declined to 22.79% year-on-year in May, down from April 23.71%, marking the second consecutive month of deceleration. That cooling trend has supported the Central Bank of Nigeria decisions to hold its policy rate steady for 2 straight meetings. The SBN's Quest adds that the market is now pricing in cumulative rate cut to 50 PBS to 100 PBS year-end. Yet global headwinds like ongoing conflict between Iran and Israel, coupled with the trade-related tension triggered by US President Trump tariff action, remains a key consideration which could limit the CBN's room to maneuver. These headwinds, FBN Quest noted, will likely support the NPC's case of holding rates for a prolonged period. Demand was particularly skewed towards the longer date of 2032 tenure. Investors placed 561.2 billion naira in bid, some 11.2 times the 50 billion naira offered. This forced the DMO to allocate only 99 billion naira despite the tolerance of interest. By contrast, the reopened April 2029 tenure drew just 41.7 billion naira in bid that fell short of its 50 billion offers, resulting in a mere 1.1 billion allotment. Secondary markets are also responding to positive momentum. Bond yield have dropped roughly to 42 basis points month to date, setting an average of 18.44%, yielding attractive return for investors as sentiment shifts. Market strategies like FBN Quest suggest that continued easing inflation could embody the DMO to keep future and bond supply modest and gradually taper yield. They says if sustained, this could reduce Nigerian borrowing costs and support the broader financial market. Let's take a quick short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Business Points, where we x-ray the Nigerian economy and the government policies. Now the stage is set to get full final approval for commencement of Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project. The project estimates at $25 billion aims to boost energy security and economic integration across several West African nations. The project's final institution step is about to receive ECOWAS heads of state officials' approval. This strategic 6,900-kilometer pipeline aims to strengthen energy security across West Africa whilst fostering industrial and social development in the region. Director General of the Morocco National Office of Hydrocarbons and Mine, Amina Benkadra, announced the project's advancements through the just concluded 17th U.S. Africa Business Summit in Luanda, Angola. The project, co-led by ONYM and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, has already achieved several key technical, environmental, and institution benchmark implementation. Will proceed gradually, adapted to regional specificity, also known as African Atlantic Gas Pipeline. It will benefit at least 13 coastal countries and 3 landlocked countries, helping to structure a regional electric market. Morocco now views this initiative as part of its broader energy strategy, aimed at ensuring national energy security while expanding access to natural gas across the continent. She stressed Morocco's position as a bridge between continents and a regional stability actor. Morocco, under the enlightened leadership of His Majesty King Mohammed V, is working to play a driving role in African development by leveraging its geostrategic position at the crossroad of Europe, Africa, and America. Benkadra pointed out that Morocco's unique status as the only African country with a free trade agreement with the United States, positioning it as a convergence platform between Africa and major global economies. Morocco was represented at the summit by a strong multi-sectoral delegation led by Karim Zinde, Minister Delegates to the Head of Government for Investment, Convergence and Evaluation of Public Policies. This discussion confirmed a shared desire to strengthen dynamic partnership in strategic sectors, including investment, industry, agriculture, and trade. Naimet International Pharmaceutical PLC has seen its share price jump by over 45% week to date of the Nigerian exchange following its 66th annual general meeting, while capital rising and expansion plans were adopted. At the annual general meeting, shareholders approved a plan allowing the company's directors to raise up to 20 billion naira by issuing shares, a move aimed at strengthening its capital base. Shareholders were also told the Naimet Directive 1.5 billion naira, originally intended for a new plant in the Anambra to expand its existing factory in Lagos, with the chairman noting that updates will be provided as the project progresses. Also at the meeting, shareholders approved the 2024 audited account, which shows that the pre-tax loss dropped from 1.6 billion naira to 854.4 million naira, supported by 4.4 sales. This result is set the stage for the company's first quarter 2025 report, which shows a pre-tax